Okay, so finally, in the uh, culture and psychiatric diagnosis opening section of introduction and key terms, take a look at ethnicity here. Again, you can read this from the highlights I brought out of the text here, and you can read it in the text yourself. And I think I'm confident you'll understand their how they're defining ethnicity. A couple things I wanted to call out. One is the line about the um, increasing mobility, intermarriage, intermixing cultural groups. Process may also lead to dilution of ethnic identification. Um, so I just want to point out, that's how they term it. I don't. I think it's more productive to, frankly, accurate in my mind, to think of it as we're going to see new ethnic identities. And likewise, I think more broadly, we're going to see a broader range of social identities in our work. And so we have to be ready for that, and be able to recognize and incorporate that meaning into our work and awareness, and trying to make ourselves as culturally open as possible, right? So, and then the last part here is just the point that I made. Again, this line here is from me, not from the DSM, about culture composed of both the risk factor and protective factor. Right, and then I pulled out a couple of the lines in there from the DSM to identify how, to sort of illustrate that, like, um, structural inequities because of cultural factors, because of cultural issues, is a risk factor, right? Uh, Racialized, cultural, ethnic, and racialized identities as a source of strength, identification, um, and cohesive social cohesiveness, which can build resilience. Well, that's a protective factor, right? Um, and interpersonal, intergenerational conflict or difficulties, that's more in the bucket of a risk factor. So, in other words, that can be a great source of distress. Those kind of things make a great source of distress for an individual or a couple or a family, and maybe a primary driver of what they're coming to you with clinically in terms of struggling with distress and functioning. Um, the last line there is, I'm sure, something we're all, I mean, this is cornerstone of social work. All clients have a right, as well as require, a right to, as well as require from a clinical perspective, socially and culturally informed diagnoses and assessments. So that's that's foundational, right? Okay, so that's the end of that opening section.